I know I haven't really talked to you about this, Tim.
Yeah.
He was so keen to go to the Melbourne Football Club, and a deal appeared to be pretty much on the table and a very good deal for both parties.
Right.
And now he doesn't want to go to Melbourne because, Melbourne's a bit on the nose for whatever reason.
Mm.
I wouldn't trade him. If he's not prepared to go to any club or for the deal that is the best deal for Port, don't trade him.
Yeah, well, it's always an interesting one with those, Carol, isn't it? I mean, with the long-term deals, and the Christian Petrarca one, I mean, you've got maybe some insight on that?
Well, Christian Petrarca is a wonderful player and seems like a great bloke. He's clearly had a few of his teammates offside because he went up to Noosa for a month and, was while they were trying to make the eight and, so-called busting their gut, he was posting stuff on his social media to do with his cooking and making cocktails, etc. Now, he's tried to explain to his teammate, Scott, that he is still suffering very badly from the trauma he went through with the incident on the King's birthday. Mm. And it really set him back and it, mentally traumatised him, and it's taken him a long time to get over it. While he might seem to be having a great time up at Noosa, any sort of connection with football for a long time has been really difficult for him and brought back that trauma. Now, I completely understand that. Mm. But we're hearing he's not happy with standards at the club. We're hearing he's keen to go to a big club, and I'm thinking that's Collingwood or Carlton. That's what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. If he was going to go anywhere at all. Well, he did sign a 6 or 7 year deal, as a lot of those great Melbourne players did after they won the flag. And, Melbourne, maybe they should have thought a bit more carefully about that, but that's what they did. Now, I'm sort of saying if you're not happy, and he didn't say anything when he spoke to the players the other day about what exactly it was with the club and the standards that he was not happy with. I know he's told the club that he feels he shouldn't have gone back on and the ambulance took too long, etc., and that's all completely fair enough. And he shouldn't have gone back on, clearly. Mm-hmm. But he signed a long-term deal and he's $1 million player. Like, shouldn't he be the one helping drive those standards now and helping them look to improve? I mean, I'm not being unsympathetic with what happened. I'm enormously sympathetic. But at some point, you sign the big deal and you get the big money. I mean, that's, a big investment for the Melbourne Footy Club. Surely it's not only playing where he needs a return on investment, he needs to be helping drive the standards as well.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, Caro, but ultimately at the end of the day as well, is that maybe he feels like that those standards are not being met and that he does need a change. So I agree with, these I've been saying it for a long time around a lot of these guys, and Christian's probably a little bit different. Guys are getting paid on potential, not on performance, because of the free agency thing that comes in as well. So it's interesting how quickly it changes, doesn't it? The dynamic of a footy club and the environment that you're in and what you accept and what you don't accept, particularly when you're winning.
But if I'm just trying to understand what he's not, I mean, I haven't actually... No one's been able to tell me what exactly he's not happy with. Mm. Except that what happened on the King's birthday, which is totally fair enough. And I just think I think he needs to tell the club what it is that they need to do to improve. Not just say, look, I think maybe for me I'd be better at a big club. I don't buy that. Mm.
Hey,
not when you've signed a long-term deal.
Now, a shock CEO appointment at Richmond.
Yeah, Shane Dunn, who runs Richmond's aligned leisure program, a separate business aligned with the Richmond Football Club. Is it a gymnasium sporting business? So they spoke to 6 candidates for this job, including some pretty big names. I'm told even other former, maybe current AFL CEOs. Came down to 2. Everybody believed that Simon Matthews, certainly I believed it, and the AFL believed it, who is the brother of Dave Matthews, the Giant CEO, and sort of Brendan Gale's right-hand man, I guess, and an executive at Richmond, been there for many years, was favoured for the job. People were completely shocked when they found out earlier today that Simon hadn't got the job, that Shane Dunn had got the job. Interesting appointment in that Shane is not a football so much person, and Richmond... they had so much success with Brendan Gale, who was a footy CEO. So it's quite fascinating.
Different tack.
It is a different tack. And also I think Simon Matthews was Brendan Gale's preferred candidate. He felt that he was his man. So some pretty shocked people at Richmond today, and I would imagine even Brendan Gale would be pretty unhappy. As I said the other night on Classified, I think Brendan probably, as good as he is, probably should have gone by now. I think an appointment should have been made by now. There's so many crucial decisions to be made, both not only for Richmond but also Tasmania. I mean, look at clubs signing up players at the moment. I think they need to move in pretty quickly and get all that sorted. So I think even though Tassie wasn't really around and Brendan has been a brilliant CEO, I just think this leadership void at Richmond is a real problem, and it's going to be really interesting now. Another former captain has retired in Dylan Grimes. More retirements, obviously, today with Marlon Pickett. It is a total new era and an unknown era, so a bit scary, really, for Richmond supporters.
And my old coach, Kevin Sheedy's got an AFL deal.
What's going on there?
Well, I think he's always done some stuff for the AFL, but obviously the story broke last week, Tim and Scott, that Kevin would not be remaining on the Essendon board. He'd be standing down from the Essendon board. My understanding is he also won't be a paid ambassador for Essendon anymore. And the AFL will probably step into the breach there, and he'll be doing more work for the wide. I mean, let's face it, he's an ambassador for the games. I mean, he's very much an ambassador for all of football. He's always done work for the AFL, but I think that what he won't be doing at Essendon, he'll be doing more of at the AFL. So another changing role there. And I think, it was a bit... I don't think it looked great for Essendon's brand that he was there after his criticism of the coaching appointment of Brad Scott. So I think this is a better deal for everyone.
And how's the Collingwood situation? We know Graham Wright's had the year off, if you like. We're not sure what's going to happen when he returns.
No, he's gone. He's gone from Collingwood, and he's talking to Andrew Dillon, I understand, or he has spoken to Andrew Dillon, and will be talking to Laura Kane about taking on that senior footy role that Brad Scott did have at the AFL that was never actually filled. But he's also, I understand, talking to Brendan Gale about Tasmania.
Right.
And as I said before, I mean, I just think Tasmania need to move now with a list boss. We know they've had Neville Stibbard doing a bit of recruiting of the younger, looking at the 15, 16-year-olds. But they really need to be talking to players, future players as well, because clubs, I mean, I know Adelaide and Port are very mindful of what's going to happen with Tasmania. Clubs are locking in players now on deals till 2029 all over Australia because of Tasmania. So that's Graham Wright. Strong rumour this morning. I think Brendan Favola dropped it on a radio station that Craig Kelly was gone from the club, the CEO. He, of course, he's been embroiled in an investigation, a work complaint.
Right. Yeah.
The club has come out and denied this, but look, Justin Leppitsch taken over as list manager. Don't know who's going to be the head of football. I know Danny Daly was approached from Brisbane, and Chris Davies has even been mooted for that job.
Jeez.
But there's a few unhappy people at Collingwood and a bit of disgruntlement. So a few more changes there before they start next season. Obviously look almost certain to miss finals now, and the Graham Wright decision, well, he'll certainly move on, but just who takes that football role, not the list management role that Leppitsch will take, remains to be seen. They're looking for that person now.
Yeah, I think that role needs filling, no doubt about that. That's a big gap in the AFL, so that could be a good appointment. Caroline,
there's a lot happening.
Yeah, you've been busy. Well played, I say. Well done.
Still
go and have a lie down. That was unbelievable.
One more round of games too, which is still going to.
Yeah,
who knows what's going to go?
Exactly. Excellent.
Well, the other thing occupying, another round of games, and who knows where it's all going to end up. I mean, will Freo make it? Will Carlton make it? And will the Bulldogs make it? But the other thing occupying my mind is the West Coast job, Scott, and just why no one so many people knocking it back.
Why do you think that is, Caro?
I don't think senior coaching is the revered job it once was. I don't think
I'm behind the microphone.
Yep, it's scaring a few off. It's scaring a few off. There's no doubt about that. Caroline, thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate your time, and we'll speak to you next week when Stephen is back.
Look forward to that, Tim. Thank you, Scott. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Caroline Wilson, each and every Thursday, thanks to the Harvey Norman Clearance Centre. From cooking appliances to washing machines, dishwashers, TVs and more, there's new stock arriving weekly, all with manufacturer's warranties. Harvey Norman Clearance Centre, 919 Marion Road, Marion.
All right, stay tuned after the break. We have a couple of breaking stories to get to. One is that the AFL is set to make an announcement on introducing a new medal on AFL Grand Final Day. We'll get you across that in a minute. And there's also been a twist, we've noticed, in the Josh Rochelle dropping from the team story. We'll get to that on the other side of this break too. But first, let's get you to the Royal Adelaide Show. If you want to head along, we have tickets to give away. We've got a quiz next. Right. Timmy will do that. 8223 0055. That's the number to call if you want to head along with a double pass. Let's check your roads out there.
G'day there. At Brunella, a police incident on the Southern Expressway near Palatinga Road. Pretty slow going there at the moment. Camporeale roads are closed due to boom gates stuck down. Strathfield Terrace between Victoria Road and Military Road. And a crash at Keswick Railway Terrace near Richmond Road. Busy South Road at Karata Park with a camera at Churchill Road and Prospect. Combining comfort and cutting-edge technology, make the Mercedes-Benz GLA City Edition yours for $66,900 drive away. Visit Mercedes-Benz Adelaide and Unley. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show with Rowie and Timmy G. 5AA is inviting you into the studio every afternoon. Head to the 5AA live stream. Thanks to Foodland. Everyday items locked in at low prices for longer. There's more ways than ever to save at Foodland.
Budget Car and Truck Rental has everything you need to get from A to B easily. With a huge range of trucks, vans, cars, utes, hybrids, 12 to 25-seater buses and more. Plus extras like trolleys, trailers, boxes, furniture covers, tapes and blankets. We've got any move covered. With multiple locations across Metro and Regional SA, it couldn't be easier. Budget Car and Truck Rental. Get to the good stuff. Call 13 27 27 or visit budget.com.au.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early. Or late. Either way, the Olympic Industry sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA-engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough, or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industry sale. On now.
Beechwood Homes, Adelaide's leading bespoke home builder, celebrates 35 years in business. That's unreal. It's 1989. Over that time, they've been able to help hundreds of people realise their dream of building a home exactly how they envisaged it. Now, this is a wonderful thing about Beechwood. There are no set plans, no set rules. It all starts with a pen and paper. I hope I'm not drawing it. I hope they're drawing it because I'm horrendous. You don't want me in picturing. Now, just like they did 35 years ago, it's been the same way. Brilliant, excellent the way their execution is. Now, under construction right now is another Beechwood Homes masterpiece. It's at Blackwood Park. Now, the breathtaking new display home will showcase Beechwood's dedication to cutting-edge design, craftsmanship, innovation, and to understand what people really want in a home they truly call their home. Now, if you can dream about it, Beechwood Homes can build it. That's how good they are. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Hey mate, I need a couple of 2x4s and 4x6s moved down over here.
Mate, why are you yelling?
Sorry mate, I'm just used to it.
There's no need to yell. In fact, there's no need to do much at all thanks to the all-new electric excavator by Volvo. With no noise and no emissions, there's really no worries. Inquire today through Warren Mining and
enjoy the sound of silence!
At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we've launched out of the starting blocks and we're flying down the track with our huge demo clearance. All demos are going to race out the door, like Demo T-Rocks from only $35,990 drive away. We're first for easy on-site finance options and top of the podium for convenient next-day servicing with complimentary loan vehicles. Get in first for Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's huge demo clearance. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city. Rego S22 3CYX.
Specsavers do hearing aids. That's surprising. But here's the real surprise. Our prices on high-tech hearing aids are also surprisingly low. Visit us online and compare today. Specsavers for high-definition sound at low Specsavers prices.
Everyday items locked in at low prices for longer. There's more ways than ever to save at Foodland.
The 5AA Sports Show, Rowie and Timmy G.
27 minutes after 5, Campo and Timmy G. We're going to get Ray Chamberlain on the line very shortly after the 5:30 headlines, and Crows and Port Adelaide's teams will be confirmed at 5:50 tonight, and we'll get your calls on the air shortly as well. 8223 0000. But Timmy, let's send someone to the Royal Adelaide Show.
You beauty. Love this quiz. We got Tracy from Manapara West, and we got Matt from Plimpton to play.
Oh,
now,
no.
all the best, Tracy. You're going to go
Thank
first.
you.
I'm going to give you a range, Trace, and then you just have to have a guess, all right?
Okay.
Okay, the question is, Ray Chamberlain has announced he will retire at this season's end. Don't clap. Hold on. And umpire his last game tomorrow night at the MCG. Now, not including tomorrow night's game, how many games has he officiated so far in his 20-year career? Now, it's between 380 and 400, okay? Now,
Tracy?
And you go, Tracy, you got all the time in the world. What number do you want?
390?
Okay, thank you. We'll put that one in. Now, Matt, it is between 380 and 390.
I'll say 385.
385. Tracy, it's between 385 and 390.
Okay, 387.
387. Matt, it's between 387 and 390.
388.
Congratulations, Matt. Sorry, Trace, you were so close. It is 388. So, Matt, you are going to the Royal Adelaide Show. Who are you going to take with you, Matt?
Probably my son, mate.
Excellent. We'll have a great time, mate. It's always good fun at the... I used to love that Royal Show.
Isn't it great?
Going as a kid and then growing up and then going as a young adult and then taking the kids and now grandkids.
I wasn't so keen on the rides, Tim.
I loved them. I'm obsessed with rides. I am a big ride guy. I'm Roller Coaster City.
Roller coasters didn't bother me. The old gravity, anything that's spun.
Graviton.
I didn't like those ones.
That's not great. Good. Yeah, but if you want tickets, and it sounds like you do, let's go to the show.com.au and Foodland.
Awesome work. All right, now, just before we get to the headlines, a couple of bits of information that's coming out. So the AFL set to honour the great Ron Barassi with a special new medallion on Grand Final Day. This one will be handed to the Premiership captain. Now, we don't know whether it will be coming in this year or next year. The Commissioners already apparently got themselves a prototype medal with Barassi's likeness on it. It's believed that the captain would receive 2 medals on the Grand Final Day, so they'd receive the Premiership medal and then, of course, the captain's Ron Barassi medal as well. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Look, Ron Barassi's had a massive impact on football, along with a lot of other great names and the like. My only thing is, we're the AFL, and I know I don't reckon we've never reset and said it's the AFL. They changed the name in 1990, and it was like, let's just put a patch over the old one. And I don't reckon we've ever embraced the fact that it's a national game. And I personally would have at some stage said, rightio, let's sit down and basically either rename or just have MVP rather than Brownlow and things like that. Have a look at the whole thing and start again. Because for me, you still got the Coleman medal, you've still got the Norm Smith medal, and it just, for me, I go, it shows no respect to the domestic competitions that were around, like the sample that we played in. So, again, Ron Barassi, I'm happy. I think he's got a statue outside the MCG, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So I reckon we need to just open it up a bit.
And just quickly as well, there's a bit more happening on social media in terms to Josh Rochelle. So there's a social media comment on Instagram where somebody has written, just so you know, us Crows fans are behind you, Rash, disgusting what the club is doing to hang you out to dry. Would not blame you for asking for a trade, mate. Guess who's liked that comment? Josh Rochelle himself.
Oh.
A little bit of an insight perhaps into how he's feeling, who knows, but teams are going to drop in just under 20 minutes. Wow. And we will find out exactly what round 24 looks like for the Crows. It's time for the headlines.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
At Movability Australia, we have your lifestyle and mobility needs covered. From Australian-made and imported adjustable beds, lift and recline chairs, mobility scooters, walkers and wheelchairs, plus a full range of mobility aids. Movability Australia have a range of quality products and will help you find the right lifestyle and mobility solution to help increase your quality of life. And we offer free delivery anywhere in South Australia. With over 13 years' experience, come and see the friendly staff at Movability Australia, Crittenden Road, Findon.
How many times a day do you experience hand or wrist pain? If simple things like cooking, holding a cup of tea or coffee, and recreational activities are giving you pain, do something about it. At Grip Surgery, we specialise in hand trauma, carpal tunnel syndrome, osteoarthritis, joint replacement, sports injuries, nerve pain and more. To get a grip on the life you loved before, free from hand pain, visit gripsurgery.com.au. That's gripsurgery.com.au.
If you love your cars, Timmy, you'll love a Mitsubishi.
Of course I do.
And if you love a Mitsubishi, you'll love the Mitsubishi Triton. They're beautiful.
Yeah,
looking
well, you
cars.
can't frighten a Triton.
No, that's right. And if you love the Mitsubishi Triton, you'll really love the brand new 2024 New Gen Mitsubishi Triton.
Correct, especially if you're dealing with the legends at Agostino Mitsubishi. They've been putting the smiles on dials of Adelaide's Mitsubishi lovers for over 35 years, so they're experts in exceptional service.
Yeah, treat yourself to a test drive, Tim, of the new 2024 New Gen Mitsubishi Triton and see if you can resist snapping it up for a great deal. With 10 years warranty and 10 years caps service pricing, that's pretty good.
I can't believe it.
10 years.
10 years, I don't know anybody can compete with that. So hurry in and meet the team at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth or the brand new state-of-the-art dealership, and I've been out there at Mawson Lakes.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, you do a lap of that, you get your 10,000 steps up, right like that. Test drive the new 2024 Gen Mitsubishi Triton today.
Tired of waking up tired? IKEA can help. Start building a more sleep-friendly space with IKEA, the one-stop shop for snoozing. So wake up. It's time to sleep. Make it happen at ikea.com.au.
Need help navigating the NDIS? Anglicare SA is here for you. As a trusted NDIS provider, we offer tailored support to help you live independently. From supported living arrangements to one-on-one assistance and therapy services, we cover every aspect of your needs. Whether it's finding the right accommodation, learning new skills, or accessing treatments, Anglicare SA is your guide through the NDIS. Empower your life with Anglicare SA. Visit our website or call us today. Anglicare SA, your partner in living the life you choose.
Everyday items locked in at low prices for longer. There's more ways than ever to save at Foodland.
The 5AA Sports Show, Rowie and Timmy G.
24 minutes to 6. We have the Crows and Port Adelaide teams dropping very shortly in 14 minutes' time. Hearing the Crows will have 4 changes. We'll hear a little bit more about that shortly. And, of course, your calls, 8223 0000. Port Adelaide are about to begin their appeals board hearing as well with Dan Houston, so we'll get some updates as they begin.
Thank you very much. Well, there is a man that's been umpiring since 2004. We're talking 20 years ago on debut.
Umpired probably some of my games. I might have to apologise to Ray. I hope I didn't cook him.
Well,
God.
I tell you what, he's one of the guys that we know each and every week is going to be entertaining. Ray Chamberlain joins us. G'day, Ray.
Good evening, fellas. How are we?
Fantastic, mate. Congratulations on 20 years of umpiring. Outstanding. A massive amount of games, 3 grand finals. Would you ever believe you would have got this far, Ray? It's a phenomenal, long journey, isn't it?
Yeah, you get into a habit, and it's funny how it rolls along. It feels like yesterday when I started, to be fair, and yet, as you say, it's been a significant part of my life. I didn't think I'd ever get an opportunity to do one game, to be honest, and I nearly tossed it in and left Victoria and went back to my hometown, which is Canberra.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to pass this on to anyone because I don't really want her to know, but my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I said, that's it, I'm going back. I'd missed out on the grand final in the state league, which means I couldn't get nominated, and so I was going to toss the toys out. And she said, go one more, you'll regret it if you don't. And she was right. And so we've got to keep that between ourselves. But yeah, went one more year and got promoted to the AFL, and then here we are chatting together tonight.
What changes over that whole period of time would you have seen? What did you like change-wise, and what did you think, oh, God, I hope this rule goes?
Yeah, rules and that come and go. I think primarily the rules are very similar. The way we were asked to implement them changes vastly. Well, obviously there's been some new stuff, there's 2 circles in the middle now and 666 and stand. And so there are new stuff, but fundamentally the laws stay the same, but how we're asked to implement those from game to game has changed year to year. I think where a lot of the changes has been I remember when I did my first game and there was no microphone vest, so if Scott was giving me some, positive feedback to go away and work on next week, no one else had to hear that. It was just between Scott and I'd take it on board. And whereas now, you've got microphone vests, and so everything's in everyone's news feed and into their living rooms. Back when when you were playing, Scott and I started, it was physically incredibly demanding, which is silly, really, because no one's there to watch us, despite what we'd like to think. They're there to watch the players, and we're there to serve the game. And so, the removal of, putting a field umpire on the ground has meant you remove that particular hurdle and requirement. I loved the running, particularly when I was younger. I don't love it so much anymore. So there's been lots of changes. I think in many ways the new people coming into our system have so much that's better, but I have great empathy for them because they're trying to learn their craft in an environment that's pretty unforgiving. With all things social media and all those types of things, which was something that my brethren didn't have to deal with back in the day.
Yeah, Ray, do you feel like? And yeah, you started when I was playing as well. I felt like, as much as we had some banter and the umpires were good at, giving it back to the players as well. I actually feel like the relationship between the umpires and the players is very sterile now. Would that be fair to say over the course of your journey?
No, that's a very reasonable state. But it's evolved in the manner in which we're able to establish it. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, Scott. Like when we, it'd be forthright and you'd have the opportunity to stand on your own 2 feet. That would build rapport and respect in a funny way between umpire and player. And it was far more authentic. And I think as a result of that, you trust the person more, right, than this sort of, as you intimated, sterile, convoluted type of communication. But where we're really blessed today, mate, is we get a lot of access and welcoming into the clubs. So we're at training all the time. We go on pre-season camps with clubs. And so those sorts of things, where you get to, you're getting flogged on the training track and in the running group and having a kick and wrestle and all of those things. Jared Ruffhead nearly put me in hospital one year. Which he tried hard. Got to be quick and big rough. But you get to build relationships in that sense. So you're right on field, and there's no doubt about that. That has amended, and I don't think it is a benefit in that sense. But in other areas, we've got far more access and far greater opportunity to establish those understandings.
Yeah, and how have you learned to do it? I mean, it's a bloody tough job. I mean, even when you guys are there, and it was great when we used to get access. When I was coaching, we'd get field umpires to come down and umpire. How do you deal with the scrutiny of being an AFL umpire? I mean, you make one bad decision, and then all of a sudden, down at the coffee shop, you probably hear about it 10 times. If a player misses a kick, no one really probably has the same effect.
Yeah, that's the nature of it. I think. And it's one of the challenges in terms of how is my mindset in terms of this noise and what does it actually mean, and being strong enough and understanding enough and mature enough to be able to contextualise and know what it actually is. I love how passionate people are about their clubs. I was fortunate enough to be in Adelaide last week, and it was just an incredible atmosphere and one that I won't forget in a hurry. And I feel really privileged, actually, to have been afforded the opportunity to try and ply my craft in that type of environment. So I never want to see that become more sterile. And so coping with those things are fine. I do think one of the great opportunities for umpiring is to celebrate internally the things we do great. You go and ask a young guy, how'd you go Saturday? And they'll immediately to default to the things that they got wrong. Bounce crap. I made a missed holding the ball on centre wing. I paid an unwarranted marking contest. And I'm like, what about the other 997 things that you did over the 2 hours? How'd they go, you know? And so we are wired, to look at the negative. And I don't think that's helpful. You never walk past your opportunities to learn and grow, right? But you got, how would you speak about another person? We'll talk about yourself in the same light, I reckon. So I think that's an opportunity where within the culture and dynamic of umpiring, we could make it a healthier place.
Ray, did you report anyone in your time? Because these days everything goes through MRO and the like. But, you know, in your time, was there any, you know, turning around and getting the number and writing it down in a little piece of paper in your sock?
It was a little bit dramatic. Even if you didn't have the pen and the thing, you pretend. You get it out to the theatre. No, I will share one story. So my first 2 games went like this. My first game, Adelaide played Hawthorn at the MCG. And don't tell him, but Mark Rashudo would have had 50 possessions and kicked 5 goals. It was like a man against boys, right? He smoked them. And there was 2 men and a dog at the MCG, and I went, well, Jesus, this wasn't what I thought it was meant to be. And then the following week, I'm sitting on the bench again to observe and learn, and it was the line in the sand game.
Oh, wow.
And I'm out on the ground, and it just explodes. And it was 3 minutes of just unmitigated ridiculousness. And every time I'd turn around, I'd turn back and another player was on the ground holding their face and had a broken nose or, you know, whatever. I was out there for 3 minutes. I didn't see one reportable offence, guys. I watched it back. There were a few. I don't know what I was looking at.
Gee whiz.
I'd like to think I might have improved a little bit since then, although maybe your viewers have got, or your listeners have got a different take on it. But, yeah, so it's amazing the way the game's changed over 20 years.
Mate, 3 grand finals, but the 2010 draw, that must have been surreal. You talk about it, and I still, my mind goes back to things immediately. Like I just immediately thought of Lenny Hayes kicking that goal from outside 50, or Nick Maxwell touching the ball on the line, and like these images just come into your head. And it was an incredible experience. I was very fortunate. I had Sean Ryan and Brett Roseberry, who are our champions, right? Yeah. I had those on it supporting me, and then Stephen McBurney, who's now my boss's boss. He was the emergency umpire. So I was really lucky that I had these incredibly talented and experienced guys around me. And I just had to worry about, you know, doing my thing. Yeah. But it was incredible. My best game that I've ever been involved in was in 2009 when Geelong played St Kilda and they were both undefeated after 13 rounds. Yeah. And there was nearly 60,000 under the lid at Docklands. Yeah. And that is without any shadow of a doubt the best game I've ever been involved in. Mate, it's been an incredible career. It will finish in the Melbourne Collingwood game at the MCG. Probably fitting, mate, that you're at the G to finish it all off. Congratulations on 20 outstanding years.
Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Thanks very much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all your support over the years, too. You've been too kind, so thanks a lot.
We'll talk to you again. You'll probably end up in politics. Good luck, mate.
Not likely. I've seen the search history.
I love it. Retiring AFL umpire Ray Chamberlain, Razor Ray, affectionately known as.
Outstanding.
Do you reckon he'll give us just one more holding the ball, you know, in the last quarter? Really hold the whistle, don't do anything, and then give us a real good one on Friday night footy.
Nice way to go out.
Wouldn't it be? Teams are coming up in 4 minutes' time, so we'll do that after the break. But here is a little bit of intel coming our way just before they drop. So the Crows were expecting 4 changes, but no debutants. Here are who's going out. Josh Rochelle will be dropped. Isaac Rankin will go out, of course. We have Lockie Gallant, who's going to be omitted, and Mark Keane, interestingly, will go out. Coming in, Chase Jones, Billy Dowling, Taylor Walker on the back of his eye surgery, and James Borlase into defence. We'll get all that shored up in a moment. Port Adelaide's team as well to come after we check your roads.
A few collisions to look out from the drive home. One at Plimpton, Marion Road near Anzac Highway. Another one at Keswick, Railway Terrace near Richmond Road. Got a police incident slowing things up at Ranella, Southern Expressway near the Palatinga Road with slow going outbound. And roads are closed at Taparoo due to Boomgate stuck down. That's on Strathfield Terrace between Victoria Road and Military Road. Camera tonight, Port Wakefield Road at Jepps Cross. This August, Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free, plus instant cashback deals with 15 stores located in Adelaide. They'll look after you. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show. David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Trying to work out whether our Rochelle are going to be on the show this week. Well, we can confirm that this week neither Dan Kelly told us that he is going to sit it out.
Adelaide's leading breakfast show.
Given that they now appear to have told him to actually sit the whole game out against the Swans on Saturday.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700.
So what's for dinner, Campo?
Chanella's.
Oh, you cannot go wrong, mate. When it comes to dinner, or for that matter, lunch, the chefs at Chanella's have done all the hard work for you. Stunning pre-prepared meals cooked daily using the freshest of local ingredients, and they're all ready to take home right now.
Yeah, there's pasta dishes and the winter warmer soups, lamb shanks with creamy mash, full roasts, a range of tasty curries, so much more, Tim, and all lovingly prepared by the chefs at Chanella's.
You walk through there, and I'll tell you what, I
Smells
dribble from the
beautiful.
mouth. That's outstanding. That's dinner sorted, or lunch even. Jump on the Chanella's website or order in store today. Chanella's, it's a way of life.
Where to start?
We do, because we know paint at Crowies.
So, visit Crowies. And while you're there, join Crowies Club to get 10% off everything.
We know paint at Crowies.
Everyday items locked in at low prices for longer. There's more ways than ever to save at Foodland.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
9 minutes to 6. We apologise for any technical difficulties we might be having at the moment. We are having some things going on in the background, so thank you for staying with us for the time being.
Text messages coming through.
Yeah, there are a few, so thank you for being patient and hanging around. It has been a bit of a interesting day, but there are some teams that have just dropped. Port Adelaide's Timmy G, there's a handful here. Josh Sin comes back into the team, as does Mitch Georgiades, Ollie Lord, Dante Visentini and Jed McEntee, and I might preface as well, this is a squad as well, so they're all into the squad. Going out of the side though, Dan Houston out suspended and Quinton Narkle omitted. So that's the starting point for Port Adelaide. Timmy, what do you think?
I think for young Narkle, he's been sub, I think, 3 weeks in a row, so they want to give him a full run, I reckon, at Sanford level, so I sort of understand that one.
Sin would be the Houston one?
Sin sounds like the Houston replacement, and of course, Mitch Georgiades you'd want back in that forward line. He's had a terrific year, so let's hope he's sound and he goes well.
And for the Crows, as we said earlier, 4 changes. Walker in, Billy Dowling comes in as well. He's been out for a few weeks. Borlase and Jones return to the AFL side. Going out, Isaac Rankin for concussion. Keane on personal leave. Rochelle's been dropped, has been well reported. And Lockie Gallant, 1 game in, 1 game out.
Whoa, so on personal leave.
Mark Keane, yeah.
Let's discuss that one afterwards. We've got a very special guest coming up right now. I tell you what, if you're not doing much on Sunday, the 1st of September, 2 p.m, get to the Arca Bar Hotel because Titus O'Reilly's going to be there. It's Sport, the Unauthorised History. G'day, Titus. How are you, mate?
Good to be with you. I can't wait to get back over to South Australia after Gather Round, which, let's just say, it took a lot out of me, Gather Round. It was great fun.
That's back in April.
I'm still recovering.
How many shows did you do?
Oh, I don't know. It was a lot. I ended up with shingles afterwards. I got so run down because everyone over there likes a drink, likes to have fun. It's all I was having a ball. So I'm coming over for the show, and then I'm back again for the Stanford Grand Final too. So having a great year over there.
Oh, excellent, mate. You're always welcome. We love your humour. Sport, the Unauthorised History. Is it similar to your podcast Sports Bazaar, where you take stories of history and get into it and maybe twist it a bit?
Yeah, a bit like that. There's plenty of stories. I'm running through the entire history of sport, so from the ancient Greeks to Jack Ginnivan. So, they're the two key points in sport. And, I run through how
the bookends.
They're the bookends. Every sporting academic quotes them as the key moment. So.
That is so funny. I'm looking forward to that. So if you go right back to the beginning, you're talking about maybe the first Olympics, or you're delving into that world?
Yeah, the ancient Greeks were starting the Olympics, which, they ran it for 50 years, and there was one event, and it was one lap around the stadium, which was a building there, which is where we get stadium from. Right. And it took them 50 years for someone to come up with an idea, like, we could do a second event. And so they said, what would that be? And they said, 2 laps around the stadium. So that was kind of how long it took them to get into it.
I love how
we're men are very slow, aren't we? We're very slow.
I do love how you grab those history moments and just twist them and put your own humour on it. It's very becoming.
Yeah, take us back. How did you get involved? Give us a little bit of background how you got into it, because I had a guy that I worked with at Adelaide, and he used to get great satisfaction at your tweets during the day. We used to have a great giggle. But how did you get into it?
Into humour?
Well, I was working a boring corporate job. This is going back 10 years, and so I started just tweeting mainly my frustration at the Melbourne Football Club.
Yes.
Who, at the time were not doing well. Luckily, things have changed enormously this year. And I just started, tweeting things that I think every AFL fan kind of feels, the frustrations and the silliness of it all and how funny it is, and it just sort of took off from there. And then the more I got into it, then, I started writing a few books and doing shows, and then I also just got really interested in the history side of things, because, the history of sport is funnier than anything else you'll ever find.
Yes.
It's just people doing silly things all the time. I've been watching Hatgate happen over there at the moment.
Yeah, don't go there, Titus. It's been a long week. What
about
the front bar? I loved you on there. You still doing some stuff on there, or?
Yeah, so I do it fairly regularly because I do the podcast with Mick Malloy, and we actually work in the same offices. Every day is a bit like front bar for me because we're all in there, and we're always at the pub. So I go on pretty regularly. Sometimes Mick says to me, "You haven't been on for a while." We kind of remember we should do it, but it's great fun, and people always ask me what it's like. And I got to tell you, Sam and Mick and Andy are exactly the same off air as they are on air.
Yeah.
So, before the show starts, about, 2 hours before, Sam and Mick will start getting stuck into each other as warm-up, and Sam will say something like, "Am I just going to carry you again tonight, Mick?"
Oh, yeah. I love that. Just mates. Hey, Titus, you mentioned your beloved Melbourne Football Club. I wondered how you went in the premiership year, because it all went very well, and of course the grand final was just an incredible game and a great victory for Melbourne. I just wondered whether you just ran out of material that year.
Oh, no, it was hard. I mean, but a lot came out of it too, because I got in a lot of trouble because we won, and I went on. We were in lockdown, remember, over in Melbourne,
yeah.
so there was those two guys that went over and got arrested.
Yeah.
The first Melbourne supporters to be arrested for something other than insider trading. And I went on because there were not a lot of Melbourne supporters around. The next day, I got all the media interview me. So I did Today, and I did Sunrise, and lots of radio, and I did paper and everything, and the project, and I said on everything, I said, the greatest day of my life. I've never been happier. Nothing comes close to what a great day it was, winning the premiership. And my partner said, you got 3 kids at the end of the day. How can you say this? She said, she was really quite angry, and she said to me, surely the 3 days they were born were the greatest days and the happiest days of your life. And I said, well, look, they were, but I've never wanted to go back and watch the replay.
Very nicely done, mate. We look forward to more of those one-liners at the Aqaba Hotel, Sunday the 1st of September. It is Titus O'Reily Sport, the unauthorised history. Should be sensational, mate. Thanks very much for your time, buddy.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Good man. Titus O'Reilly there. Always great for a one-liner.
Good. I'd love to go and have a watch.
I was nearly going to ask him, how's the one-bedroom unit going now? You can't insult the wife like that.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
We have the 6 o'clock news coming up, but a couple of quick updates before we go there. Dan Houston's appeal hearing at the moment. So the Power are arguing a failure of procedural fairness, and they're saying there was an error of law, that Houston actually had the right to elect to bump. He was entitled to elect to bump instead of tackling. So we'll see how that all plays out, because that's a very legal way of going about it.
That's an interesting argument, considering Graham Corns' view on Monday that it was
still in the rules.
Well, and also, Tuggers, I think we've got the snippet of Ray Chamberlain in terms of how he saw it. He was one of the umpires, particularly around the rough conduct.
Yeah, we'll play that after 6 o'clock for you, so you can get some context around that. And Crows GM of footy, Adam Kelly, has been quoted around Josh Rochelle, because I know a lot of Crows fans tonight were keen to hear what the Adelaide Football Club had to say about this decision. The quote from Adam Kelly is, "We love the energy Josh brings to our group, and he's going to be a very important player for us for a long period of time. Collectively, we must always prioritise the team first focus, which is so central to our values and standards. We have and will continue to work with Josh in this space, as we do with all our players, coaches and staff." That is the quote from the GM of footy of the Crows, Adam Kelly. We'll get to the 6 o'clock news. On the other side, we'll talk tennis, and more of your calls, 8223 0000.
The 5AA Sports Show with Rowie and Timmy G. The Saturday Sports Show. Graham Corns and KG Cunningham.
No game next week at the Adelaide Oval. Now, what is the AFL doing? Now, don't for one moment gather round, otherwise I'll spew.
And it's because of the gather round.
I'll be back in a minute.
Don't think many of the Melbourne teams have to travel.
What a horrible way to finish the year off.
On 5AA. Always Adelaide. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Thank you, I'm Brenton Raglas. Tonight, police have revealed a shocking case of drink driving. A woman recording one of the highest blood alcohol levels ever in SA. Child criminals have staged daring raids on local businesses. Plus, researchers have come up with a simple test that can predict the risk of dementia. And don't worry, you haven't missed the news. Start over on 9 now as soon as you're home.
Suzuki is celebrating 40 years of Swift with an all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid. So, book a test drive today in Australia's best value hybrid, the all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid, for fun's sake.
The BTR Excavations Balaclava Cup, Wednesday the 11th of September, featuring special guest, Australia's favourite German entertainer, Hans. It's the biggest country race meet in SA. Marquees from $49 per person, with a range of hospitality packages. Transport available from multiple locations around Adelaide, the Barossa and Clare. The Balaclava Cup, Wednesday the 11th of September. Search Balaclava Racing Club on Facebook and online.
Now, when it comes to flooring for your home or your investment property, you've got the world at your feet at Floor World. Now, Floor World has some serious purchasing power, keeping prices low on a huge range of flooring, including wool and synthetic carpets, engineered timber flooring, laminate, hybrid, vinyl flooring, even plantation shutters and blinds. They do it all.
Yeah, the other thing you'll love about Floor World is how easy they make it, Tim. You can buy everything you need in one place. That's really important. You don't want to go to 10 different places, do you? At Floor World, and take it home the same day and get started.
That's the beauty of it. The stock is there ready to go. Now, ask the team at Floor World to come and do the job for you if you want. That's my world. And just a quick tip for the home renovators. Always start with your choice of floors and colours first. That way, everything else will fall into place. Get it right.
Speak with the experts at Floor World. Visit floorworld.com.au for a free consult, plus mention FIVEAA for a 15% discount.
Hey!
Wella. Hoyt's Herbs and Spices is a 100% Australian family-owned company. Hoyt's products you see in your aisle are packed and processed in Australia. You support local Australian manufacturing and Hoyt supports Aussie jobs. Always. That thought alone leaves a good taste in your mouth. And we haven't even opened the herbs and spices yet. Hoyt's changes the mood of food. In your spice aisle now at Coles, Woolworths and good independent supermarkets. Fill those empties with Hoyt's Spices, yeah!
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And South Australian Business Chamber and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between South Australian Business Chamber and Ray White Business Sales SA, all that experience flows to you. This ensures you're in top shape, whether you're buying, selling, or somewhere in between. Touch base with the experts. Search Ray White Business Sales SA. Proudly partnered with South Australian Business Chamber.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Everyday items locked in at low prices for longer. There's more ways than ever to save at Foodland.
The 5AA Sports Show, Rowie and Timmy G.
Welcome back at 9 minutes after 6 on this Thursday night. Team changes have been made. For those just catching up, the Crows have made those 4 changes with Tex, Dowling, Borlase and Jones coming back in. Rochelle, Rankin, Gallant and Keane all going out of the side. For Port Adelaide, they've named a squad. Georgiades comes back in, Lord, Sin, Byzantini and McEntee, and going out Houston with suspension and Quinton Narkle. And speaking of Dan Houston, the appeals board is hearing at the moment, as we heard before, Port Adelaide are arguing a failure of procedural fairness. They say there was an error of law and that Houston had the right to elect to bump. He was entitled to elect to bump instead of tackling. Although the chair of the appeals board doesn't seem overly convinced about the argument from Port Adelaide, they're suggesting that Houston's already pled guilty and the tribunal was open to hand down the sanction the way it did. So it might take a turn for Port at the moment, but they've started with at least their strong thoughts around why he had the right to elect a bump.
Okay, well, we're going to move to a different sport here. On next Tuesday, August 27th, the US Open begins. Now, I wish I'd have known. I would have popped over and, put my wild card in. But unfortunately, that won't be happening. But we've got a man who will be there for Stan Sport. It's Chris Stubbs. G'day, mate.
G'day. How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah, I can't believe it's crept up on us. The old US Open's just around the corner. And I'll tell you what, it's not going to come without some controversies, especially on the back of the Yannick Sinner news.
Yeah, massive story. This one of the biggest stories we've had in tennis for quite some time. We've had a few, haven't we? And of course, Nick Kyrgios is involved in some way, shape, or form. It wouldn't be a story
Not
without...
playing, but still involved.
That's it, always creating headlines. So for any of the listeners that aren't across what happened, our world number one, Jannik Sinner, our Australian Open champion here from Melbourne Park earlier in the year, tested positive for clostridiol, which is a anabolic steroid. That was back in March at Indian Wells tournament. Now, he had less than 1 billionth of a gram of clostridiol in his system. He was found at no fault or negligence. So he was provisionally suspended for a couple of periods in between tournaments while this was all going on in the background. But he has been allowed to continue to play. He did have to cough up around $500,000 Australian dollars in prize money that he won at Indian Wells, as well as 400 ranking points. He made the semi-final there. Now, you can go either of two ways on this, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts on it. You could look at it and go, he's tested positive, doesn't matter how much it is, he's tested positive, therefore he should have been banned and copped the 2-year ban, as we've seen others, even at no fault, cop lengthy suspensions. Or you can look at the reasoning that they gave for why it happened. His physio was treating him with an over-the-counter spray, that he was actually treating himself, the physio, because he'd cut his finger. And then the suggestion or the argument is that then from using a non-gloved hand as the physio to rub and treat Sinner over the 10-day period while he was using this spray, the physio, it has then embedded itself into Jannik Sinner's system because he has dermatitis, and so he has lots of little, cracks and crevices where perhaps this transfer could happen in such a small dosage, and that's how it came to be in his system at such a small amount. Now, you look at that and go, okay, if that's the fact, if that's what happened, I tend to go, well, it's not performance enhancing, is it, if it's less than 1 billionth of a gram and it was an over-the-counter spray that got into his system and it hasn't affected the outcome, then play on. But then you look at the others that have had similar situations where systems have been contaminated through no fault of their own, and they have had to miss an extended period of their sport. So I don't know where you guys sit on it. I still don't think I really know where I sit. I do see both sides of the argument. Kyrgios saying it's ridiculous and he should have got 2 years. He said massage cream, yeah, right. So it's fair to say it's a contentious one. How will he be treated by the fans at the US Open? Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
He's quite a thin build, isn't he? So
he is.
Anabolic steroids, if he was using them, I'd want my money back. Because it doesn't appear to have worked. He's that thin. But I am interested in Nick's opinion because obviously he's just gone really hard on it too, saying, nah, 2 years, ban you, off you go, you're telling fibs and the like. But that 1 billionth just seems to be a really small thing. And how it got in there, I don't know. But yeah, it's probably beyond my experience in WADA and ASADA.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Look, the appeals can be held by WADA and by the Italian anti-doping authority. They can appeal the fact that Jannik hasn't been banned. There's been no suggestion so far that they would, and gee, it would be a big call from the Italians to challenge and appeal their own world number one.
Yeah.
So I look, you'd think that would be highly unlikely, but WADA could still appeal. So Denis Shapovalov, of course, another former top 10 player, he just put out there on socials different rules for different players because he is the world number one, and we've seen lesser ranked players cop heftier penalties. So it's a tough call, and the fact that he was allowed to keep playing because he did put in appeals straight away as soon as he got the positive. He put his hand up and said, well, hang on, something's going on here. I'm appealing this straight away, so which is why they were then allowed him to continue to play while they got to the bottom of it all. But messy, ugly look for tennis on the eve of the final major of the year.
True. Well, yeah, and it comes up next Tuesday, August 27th. It looks like some great rivalries. Who's your pick, Chris?
Oh, gee, it's a massive call. I'm so excited about this year's final slam of the year because if you look at the situation now with Sinner, the world number one, returning from a few injuries and issues that he's had, regardless of this positive drug test, he won the Australian Open, our most recent hard court slam. He is still the world number one. He just won Cincinnati, the lead-up tournament this week. He has to be at the top of the list. But then Novak Djokovic going for 25 Grand Slam titles to move him ahead of Margaret Court
gold
as
medalist.
the sole owner of the most of all time, and having just won at Paris at the Olympics, and the emotion that moment meant to him. You'd be hard-pressed to go past him. But Carlos Alcaraz has won at New York. He won the French Open. He won the Wimbledon, defeating Djokovic. So there is such a rich, I guess, possibility of what could come. Now, in terms of the seeding, Djokovic and Alcaraz are on the same side. So they won't play each other in the final, as we've seen so many times in recent history, because Sinner is the number one seed on the other side of the draw. So you've got to think about that when you try and make your pick. Alcaraz was out of sorts the other day and smashed his racket, which you don't often see from him, and then apologised for it. I still think Alcaraz. I just don't think Sinner's got enough tennis under his belt in recent months, and Djokovic, the emotional high of Paris.
Might be enough.
I think Alcaraz.
Yeah, great call. And in the women's draw, that's still reasonably open from the names I'm seeing competing.
Yeah, look, it is. I'd go Arina Sabalenka there, the Australian Open champ, two-time defending champ there. On a hard court, she just won Cincinnati, defeating Iga Swiatek in the semis there in straight sets. That's a pretty good form line. And then straight sets against Jessica Pegula in that final. So Sabalenka on a hard court for me. Krejcikova, the Wimbledon champ, I don't think she's been consistent enough since then. Iga Swiatek, of course, the French winner. Hard court, not her preferred surface. So Sabalenka for mine there. But what about our Aussies? 10 Aussie men in the top 100.
Yeah, awesome.
That's a tenth of the top 10.
First time since 82, they reckon. So how good is that?
Yeah, it is. And do you know what? We're good too. We're not just making up numbers here. We've got, obviously, Alex de Minaur, who's top 10 player. We've got Alexei Popyrin, just won the Masters. 1,000. That's a 1,000 tournament. Now, you guys would know what that means. That's the elite tournaments outside the slams, and he's won one of them, Alexei. He's been in great form this year. Jordan Thompson, he may get a seed as well if we have one player come out with a withdrawal tonight before the draw is done. He's at 33 in the world. So we could have 3 seeded players. So that's phenomenal.
Looking forward to it, mate. All on Stan Sport. Thank you very much, Chris Stubbs.
Pleasure, guys. Anytime.
Yeah, the US Open begins next Tuesday, August 27th from 12:30am Australian Central Standard Time on Stan Sport. Every match will be ad-free with centre court in 4K UHD on Stan Sport, and Grand Slam Daily hosted by Chris Stubbs every afternoon to recap all the big news and preview the blockbuster matchups. You can hear from that. He's a great coverer.
He knows it all.
Good
Let's get back to your calls. 8223 0000. I know Mark Keane has been omitted from the side for personal reasons.
Yeah, sounds like he was going back home. Let's go to Sean on the line. G'day, Sean.
Good evening, guys. I'm not trying to gaslight here. Just had a bit of inside information.
Okay.
Mark Keane actually walked out in the club today. You won't see him back in the Crows colours. He's disappointed with the coach's comments regarding about players losing control, and apparently there is a player division. Now, you can disregard this, and that's fine. I'm sure it'll come out in the next few weeks.
Wow.
But I can tell you right now that the Crows have got some serious issues down there when it comes to player management. And I got inside information, and I'm not going to disclose who gave me that inside information, but I guarantee you, and I'll put 2 bottles of Rust and Red on it, that this will come out in the next few weeks. That Mark Keane has not gone home for personal reasons. He's gone home because he's actually disillusioned with the club. So I'll leave that with you guys. You guys are in the media and you can do what you want when it comes to that. But I can tell you right now, if that's the case, and it's true, which I believe it is, Adelaide Football Club really seriously need to look at the way they're managing players. The Rochelle thing was an absolute disgrace. And if Keane's decided to go home, I'm sure Collingwood are rubbing their hands, and it's really disappointing as a lifetime member of the Adelaide Football Club to hear this. And yeah, as I said, not trying to gaslight, guys. Seriously, not trying to gaslight.
Well, Sean, you've obviously got some pretty good info. You're pretty strong on it. And
yeah, absolutely.
and I know. Well, betting 2 bottles of Rusden's is very, very confident. So I would say that your source would be extremely reliable. Is that what you're telling us?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not rumour mongering. It's actually factual. I heard about this 2 o'clock today. I actually rang FIVEAA and told them the team selection 2.5 hours before the team came out. I knew what was happening. I feel like Matthew Nicks went back to his favourites, which is obviously Chase Jones and sorry, totally eluding it.
Dowling and Tex.
Borlace. I think that the handling of Rochelle is ridiculous. I think he's 21 years old. Yeah, he shouldn't have said what he said, but you know what? Jars used to do it all the time. Jars was the biggest gaslighter at the football club. He used to love getting into State of Origin. If you think about some of the things he said in State of Origin, it's the character of what we play for. Like football clubs, we always like to have a bit of dig. And Timmy, I was a Port Adelaide supporter all my life.
Yep.
Magpies. I watched you. I watched I watched George Fiarchi, Ray Huppert. I was just the biggest fan. And the only reason I followed the Crows, which is probably going through your mind, is because when the Crows come in, they stole a lot of Port players and took them into the side. But in the context of the conversation is, I think the Adelaide Football Club need to come clean. This will come out in 3 weeks, and it'll be embarrassing for them. And Kelly sent out a message saying he's gone home for personal reasons. That's not the truth. And I'm sure that will come out in the next 2 or 3 weeks when Mark King says he's not coming back to the Crows.
Sean, thank you so much. We have to get to a break, but that is some seriously damning information if true.
Yeah, massive news. And Sean, it sounds like his... he's saying his resource on that is very, very tight. So
yeah, the quote from Adam
thanks
Kelly.
for ringing us, Sean.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
The quote from Adam Kelly, just quickly, is Mark performed at a really high level for us this year and has our full support in returning home to Ireland for family reasons. We look forward to seeing him back at the start of pre-season. Well, for Crows fans who love Mark Keane, they'll be hoping that is a true statement as well. 23 minutes after 6.
The 5AA Sports Show with Rowie and Timmy G. Are you ready to go?
It's showtime!
It's time for the Royal Adelaide Show, and it's time to celebrate our state, our people, and our produce. 5AA Show to enjoy everything it has to offer, from rides, animals, wood chopping, Dagwood dogs. Listening to 5AA all across the day for your chance to win Money Can't Buy tickets. The Royal Adelaide Show, August 31st till September 8. Book tickets at theshow.com.au and Foodland.
I bet your dad loves his nuts, and the very best nuts are South Australia's own Charlesworth nuts. G'day folks, I'm Brett Charlesworth, and we have over 50 stunning gift hampers, baskets and bags to choose from this Father's Day. They're all brimming with Charlesworth's mouth-watering nuts and chocolates. All you have to do is pick the one your dad will love the most and then watch his eyes light up. You can't go wrong. Shop online now or at one of our 12 family-owned stores. Why Charlesworth this Father's Day? Because fresh nuts taste better.
Suzuki is celebrating 40 years of Swift with an all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid. With enhanced styling, safety and technology, plus a very swift hybrid engine. It means that the fun can last forever. So book a test drive today in Australia's best value hybrid, the all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid, for fun's sake.
Foodland stores are local, independently owned supermarkets with over 90 stores across South Australia. They are indeed the mighty South Aussies.
Yeah.
They are passionate about providing great food and all your favourite brands, along with some best supermarket experiences in the world.
Now, Foodland are passionate about providing their customers with fresh local produce. You walk into one of their stores, Campo, and I can tell you, I want to eat every single thing I see. I'm just obsessed with it if I can get past the Kytons, Lamingtons. A full range of groceries with personalised service, with great competitive prices, great food, lives at Foodland. Now, don't forget, check your letterbox every week. It's almost like a family outing now. I get the grandkids involved. We get the catalogues. We sort them all out. They point out what they want. We'll have that yogurt there, thanks, Papa, and they like the strawberries, and you got rich taste, haven't you? But there's great specials, and you can even sign up online and receive it straight to your inbox.
Yeah, when fresh really counts, great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies.
Yeah.
Tommy, what gets you up in the morning for a hit of golf?
Timmy, there's nothing better than stepping out on the first hole and feeling the anticipation of a great day. What about you?
It's the crack of the driver, sends the ball straight down the middle of the fairway. What gets you up for a game, Rowie?
Timmy, for me, it's the kerplonk of the ball finding the cup.
You know what gets me up for a game of golf, fellas?
We know, Pimbo. It's about 8 missed calls and a drive-by.
Drummond Golf. For the love of golf.
Get cashback rebates on energy-saving appliances with Mac Trade Services. Receive up to $600 on eligible fridges, freezers or dryers, thanks to the South Australian Government REPS rebate. Simply buy an eligible appliance and complete the rebate claim form on our website. Visit mactradeservices.com.au or your local Harvey Norman store today.
Tired of waking up tired? IKEA can help. Start building a more sleep-friendly space with IKEA, the one-stop shop for snoozing. So wake up. It's time to sleep. Make it happen at ikea.com.au.
Everyday items locked in at low prices for longer. There's more ways than ever to save at Foodland.
The 5AA Sports Show, Rowie and Timmy G.
27 minutes after 6, the World Game with Stefan Mork is only minutes away. That is our new 5AA football soccer program.
Loved it last week.
Every Thursday night. Geez, he does a good job as well. So
Awesome, mate.
if you missed it last week, you get a chance to listen in tonight from 6:30. And of course, we've been taking your calls and getting your thoughts on the unique homestyle food text line throughout the entire night on the Josh Rochelle. He has officially been dropped as of team selection about half an hour ago. And some interesting thoughts here. Ben says, I like what Matty Nix is doing. Culture above everything. That's what the club has said in their statement this afternoon, that it's team first attitude that they want to put forward.
Just had that caller, Sean, dial in and say that he's not happy with a lot of the things that are going on down at the club and believes that Mark Keane has walked out of the football club.
Well, it'd be interesting this weekend at the Sandford. So I'm sort of putting my coach's hat on again here. And I'm there going, if you went and watched Josh Rochelle this weekend in the Sandford...
Because they have to play and win to make finals.
How engaged is he going to be in that game would be something that I'd be looking at as a supporter to see whether... Does he go the way of, I'm going to show you guys how much I want to be at the footy club and I'm prepared to change and do some of those things? Or does he go the other way? It would be interesting to see what happens there.
I'm just thinking when he kicks a goal, does he run to the Sturt people and rattle jewellery or something? Because well, it's Unley, not Alberton.
Or Chase Jones and James Borlays, who are now playing AFL this weekend. They've been a big part of that Sandford side pushing for finals, haven't they? They're now out of the side, so that might change the fortunes.
It's not judged on the last game. It's judged on how many you have to play more sample games than you do AFL. So
I'm just talking about the cohesion of the group. It's a different look.
Yeah. But they'll be able to bring those players back for the finals.
Definitely. Absolutely
so
right.
That'll change the mix.
29 minutes after 6. We are done for this evening. Back tomorrow from 4 o'clock. Thank you so much for all your interaction tonight. The World Game with Stefan Moore coming up next.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show. David Penberthy and Will Goodies, 5AA Breakfast.
Rochelle